High-stakes talks have been held in Washington between the U.S. and Canada. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and Defense Secretary Jim Mattis met their Canadian counterparts Friday over trade relations and joint security. But at a following press conference, questions focused on the detention of Huawei CFO Meng Wanzhou and the detention of 2 Canadians here in China. So what exactly has happened to Meng Wanzhou over the last 2 weeks? Christy Scull explains.
Meng Wanzhou, the CFO of Chinese tech giant Huawei, was detained in Canada on the very first day of December. This happened as the United States requested to extradite her on unspecified charges. And it was not until a few days later that the situation became somewhat clearer.
China has made clear its solemn position separately to Canada and the United States, requesting them to immediately clarify the reasons for detention, immediately release the detainee, and guarantee the legitimate rights and interests of the person concerned.
Meng appeared in a Canadian court at a bail hearing on December the 7th. It was adjourned to the following Monday and Tuesday. During this period, the Chinese Foreign Ministry summoned Canadian Ambassador John MacCallum and U.S. Ambassador Terry Branstad, lodging complaints and urging for the immediate release of the Huawei executive.
There are media reports revealing details of Meng Wanzhou's treatments in custody, including possible inhumane measures, such as not providing her with basic medical care. We believe this is inhumane and infringes on her human rights.
Detained by Canadian authorities for over 10 days, Meng was finally granted bail with a guarantee of about $7.5 million. Many have voiced anger with the detention, calling the case a miscarriage of justice. Meng posted to Chinese social media app WeChat soon after release, saying, "I am proud of Huawei and proud of my motherland. Thanks to everyone who has been concerned about me." Christy Scull, CGTN.
And the joint action of the United States and Canada has produced some backlash from commentators around the world.
That sounds like hostage taking, really, because you're taking a chief executive, a CFO of one of the biggest companies in China, taking her prisoner, not because she violated Canadian law. She's not even charged in American courts. And then saying, but guess what, China? Give us something good. Give us some economic relief. Maybe we'll free her. Doesn't that sound like hostage taking? I mean, in the popular vernacular, that's how it would be understood.
And there were some other takes from the media around the world. An idiotic way to hold China in check. That's how Washington Post described the detention from Zachary Karabel. That article said if the U.S. wanted to respond to China's rise and manage America's changing role, it could hardly have picked a dumber tactic. And Canada's largest newspaper, The Globe and Mail, published an editorial titled, "U.S., not China, is the real threat of international rule of law." It was written by American economist Jeffrey Sachs. The article slammed the U.S. action as a shocking break with practice. Jeffrey Sachs compared this with U.S. companies being punished for breaking the law, saying none of their managers were grabbed off a plane and put into custody. He writes that the U.S. wants to start the practice of arresting executives, alleged malpractices. It should start at home so as to avoid hypocrisy.